Hi, I'm Matt Reardon. Thanks for watching this Wednesday evening, November 29th West Weather Update brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. Thought I'd start here with Hawaii. They're actually under the influence of a Kona low right now. We talked about the potential for this all the way last week on last Wednesday. You can see that low spinning here just before sunset off the kind of western coast of Hawaii here. You can see that spin on the visible satellite here. A lot of showers and thunderstorms have been kicked off today as a result of that. Flood watches posted across the islands of Hawaii here. It's kind of neat to see it spinning. Of course, we don't want flooding and inclement effects that way. Another kind of neat thing to see on this visible satellite loop is that sunset line, that kind of date line moving across the satellite picture there. If you'll notice, it's slanted in this direction to the top left or the bottom right. That's because it's our winter in the northern hemisphere. We're coming up on the solstice here on December 21st. We tilt away from the sun at this time of year on the Earth's axis, and that's what helps produce our seasons. That's why we're getting into our water year here. And it's just a reminder that we're getting into kind of the heart of our winter and water year here across the western U.S., and that means more precipitation to talk about, which is a great kind of set up for this video here with a lot of precipitation in the forecast. Coincidentally, if you watch me make a video similar to this, go back to May, June, and July, you'd see that slant in the other direction for summer, and that's our seasonal tilt that the Earth gives us, and thankfully it does, because it gives us different weather to talk about at different times of the year. The weather right now in Hawaii is wet. A lot of water coming through today. Expecting this Kona low to weaken a little bit through the weekend, but more rain expected tomorrow in the form of showers and thunderstorms on some of these leeward slopes that have been drier this year, and then expecting that to continue Friday, perhaps a little bit less coverage, and then weekend then more materially in Saturday, Sunday, to the point where talking about less widespread precipitation on Sunday, and then kind of exiting the situation by Monday for the island of Hawaii. In the meantime, flood watches have been posted here active today and tomorrow across virtually every inch of the islands, save for some parts of the top of the volcanoes on the Big Island here, pushing up toward 12 and 13,000 feet. You actually get winter weather advisories there here this evening. So it's kind of interesting to think about Hawaii as a tropical destination. We don't think about winter weather there. But if you go up high enough, even in these tropical locations, you can get some snow, prompting those winter weather advisories there. I want to bring up these Kona lows because it has immediate implications for Hawaii with the rainfall they're receiving today, tomorrow, and Friday. But also is going to play a role in our forecast for the Pacific Northwest. This is looking at an ECMWF, the European model forecast for precipitable water. It's essentially a measure of moisture in the atmosphere as a percent of normal. We're looking down at kind of the Central Pacific, North Central Pacific Ocean here. Hawaii is down here in the middle of the graph. There's all that moisture associated with that Kona low spitting up. We have another low pressure system moving out of the Western Pacific. And what we're going to see here as I play this forecast forward is the moisture plume from that Kona low and the moisture out of the Western Pacific are going to merge here this weekend and really slam into the Pacific Northwest and Oregon and parts of Washington, Eastern Oregon, Eastern Washington, and maybe even parts of Idaho here this weekend, bringing a pretty considerable amount of rain, even for areas up there where at this time of year they're expecting rain in the forecast. I think we're going to see even more than normal. I'll play this forecast out into Thursday night and into Friday. I'm actually expecting some rain to come through on those nights as well for the Pacific Northwest, but the most robust system precipitation, heavy rainfall likely to occur here in the middle of the weekend, Saturday into Sunday. As you can see, this big atmospheric river, the moisture plumes from these two events combining together, and you have this moisture connection from Hawaii all the way up into the Pacific Northwest here, and potentially, if you look just to the west of that, we have another low pressure system with an attendant atmospheric moisture setting up, which if you kind of were to play this forward has, I think its sights set on the Pacific Northwest getting out into next work week. So I would call this a multi-day, rainfall event for the Pacific Northwest, but it's kind of getting even beyond that. I think the forecast for Thursday for the Willamette Valley, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and potentially Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week will include rain. And just by nature of the persistence of that is likely to stack up those rainfall totals. I'll get into the timing and kind of the coverage of all that kind of at the end here. Just wanted to quickly go through some of the rainfall totals through Monday of next week, just kind of sticking on this kind of 4 to 5 day rainfall forecast. Seeing anywhere from 3, potentially 4, some of these models suggesting even exceeding 4 inches of rainfall in parts of the Willamette Valley and some of the low-lying areas of Washington as well. Expecting more precipitation up in the Cascades in the form of snow in eastern Washington and eastern Oregon in the form of snow there as well. Snake River Valley could be seeing some significant precip from this as well, over a half inch, potentially up toward an inch of a mixture of rain and snowfall if you were to melt it all out. This is just from the NBM, the National Blend of Models, one opinion here. If we jump over to the GFS,
Similar story for the Willamette Valley. Heavy precipitation likely expected through kind of Monday of next week, December 4th into the 5th, starting here at this Wednesday evening. Anywhere from 3, 4, 5. GFS even kind of in the middle part of the Willamette Valley, they're expecting 6 inches of rainfall. That's a lot of rain to fall in just 1 week. So this is likely to stress some rivers and streams in that area. Fortunately, kind of broken out over a number of different days here, likely heaviest over the weekend. ECMWF, the European model, again, kind of on the GFS side of a little bit of a higher total here of 4, 5, even 6 inches in parts of the Willamette Valley here, parts of low-lying areas in Washington. Eastern Oregon, eastern Washington likely receiving more snow out of this. The Snake River Valley, again, seeing anywhere from 3/4 of an inch up over an inch at times. Again, that's likely to be a mixture of rain and snow in the Boise area, lesser amounts falling in the upper Snake River Valley area, and not as much really getting into the Golden Triangle as well, but some precipitation might be falling there as well as we go through this kind of 7-day forecast, not nearly as much as we're seeing in areas west of there. The Weather Prediction Center, their precipitation total forecast here in the Willamette Valley, again, looking at anywhere from kind of 2, 3 to 4 inches, so they're a little bit on the lower side in terms of the forecast valued amounts in those more low-lying areas. That's still quite a bit of rain to fall just over a 5-day forecast. So I'm showing all of these to show just the strong agreement in a number of different models that we're going to see a heavy precipitation event, really kind of starting tomorrow in the Pacific Northwest and lasting potentially beyond Tuesday of next week. I kind of cut these forecasts off at Tuesday, but really the forecasts show additional rainfall coming after that. And it's late November. We're getting into December by the time a lot of this precipitation is going to be falling. So we have to talk about snow. That's just where we're at in the water year at this point. And you can imagine with all that atmospheric moisture, with the atmospheric river vents getting thrown up against the Cascades, we've talked about the mountain lifting that can help bring a lot of the snow to these areas. We're expecting a tremendous amount of snow to be falling in the Cascades here, really ramping up the snow season in this area. That includes the mountainous regions of Idaho, the Salmon River Mountains here in eastern Oregon as well, getting into the mountains of western Montana. Really kind of the northern interior west seeing a good, healthy increase in their snowpack as a result of this system. That includes parts of Utah, western Colorado. You can even see the Mogollon Rim in northeastern Arizona getting some snowfall of this. And I mention all these areas because these are feeders right into the Colorado River Basin. And we want to have another good water year there to improve the Colorado River levels, which we were just talking about last year and the year before, being so near low and critical levels. Even seeing the northern Sierras getting in on some of the snowpack here, lesser amounts, but potentially a nice dosage of 8 to 10 inches here in the central and northern Sierra peaks. And this is a map that we have not looked at, I think, probably since March of last year. This is looking at all the different basins here across the western U.S. in terms of their snow water equivalent at this date compared to where they are typically in a historical average for that snowpack. And if you kind of look into some of these, it's hard to kind of make out where we're at exactly here. The Sierra Nevadas, we're running about 50% of average. So we're below average here in the Sierra Nevadas, below average in a lot of the Colorado River Basin areas, below average in Idaho, around 50% there, just kind of above 40%, and below average in the Cascades as well. So it's really early. It's far too early to be worried about a low snowpack here or anything like that. But we are starting a little bit on the slower side in terms of snowpack. So I think getting some of this heavy snowpack in here with this event, not necessarily a bad thing. I did say I would talk about timing a little bit. Before I get into the Pacific Northwest forecast, did want to mention that today we saw this weak low pressure system spinning just off California, bringing some coastal rain showers. You almost can't even make out the closed low here on the sea level pressure forecast from the ECMWF, but this is expected to slowly make its way inland over Southern California, bringing precipitation tomorrow in parts of California, and even tonight as well as going through the Wednesday into Thursday evening. That actually ejects over some of the mountain ranges here and gets into southern Arizona Thursday evening into Friday morning. So could see rainfall all the way through southern Arizona, inching over toward the lower Colorado River Valley. And all the while this happening, we have our first system coming through on Thursday into the Pacific Northwest. Thursday night into Friday, bringing snow to eastern Oregon, potentially the Snake River Valley as well. That pushes through and kind of, before it can even get out of our view, we have the next system flying through on Friday morning. That's expected to bring heavy snow to the Cascades, additional rainfall to the Willamette Valley. I'm going to sound like a broken record if I keep narrating each one of these events as they come through during the forecast. So I'll just play this forward into Saturday. Additional event coming through, getting even stronger Saturday night into Sunday morning. We see widespread rainfall across the Pacific Northwest into Tuesday, now into Wednesday. I showed you the potential for yet another one of these training systems to come out of the Central Pacific with its sights set on the Pacific Northwest. The ECMWF, the European model, seeing that right now in the forecast all the way out into Wednesday of next week, to the point where I might be making the video on December 6th talking about the same sort of heavy precipitation event. If I take the forecast beyond that, we're getting kind of out into 7 to 8 day forecast. We see potentially rainfall extending even into the kind of middle to late work week of next week. It feels silly to show the drought monitor after talking about all that, but I would expect a lot of the drought that we've been talking about in the Pacific Northwest kind of lingering through the summer to disappear as a result of this event. In fact, when the update comes tomorrow, I expect some of this to get walked back, and certainly by Thursday of next week, the Thursday after that, this is going to become a story of the past very quickly, and potentially even in parts of Arizona and the desert Southwest soon. Based on where we were kind of at the start of this decade, it's interesting to see all this drought just kind of get washed away by all these heavy rain events that we've seen here lately. If we look at the 10-day anomalies from the ECMWF precipitation forecast here, I'm showing this just because we're totally off the charts for precipitation departures here in parts of the Willamette Valley, western Washington, extending over into eastern Oregon in the form of snow, eastern Washington as well, the kind of middle Snake River Valley, seeing quite a bit of precipitation over the next 10 days. Kind of curiously, an area that's getting missed out on some of this is California and parts of Nevada a little bit as well, just over the next 10 days, at least through the start of December here. That makes me actually think, when is California going to get onto some of this water year precipitation that we're expecting from El Nino? We might have to wait a little bit, certainly not getting any out of this major system coming through the Pacific Northwest. Could see something coming through more in the middle of December, and I'll show you why I'm thinking that in just a second here. I did want to show the 7-day temperature anomalies. Not terribly warm across the northern tier of the Intermountain West here, with a lot of the rainfall and the clouds expected over the next 7 days, but a little bit warmer than average in parts of Oregon and Washington. And then Montana, looking at a little bit warmer even than that, looking at about 9 Fahrenheit above average over the 7-day period. A little bit cooler and seasonal across the southern tier of the West right now, with Arizona and California seeing more seasonal to just cooler temperatures over the next 7 days. Not expecting any big frost or freeze issues for the Central Valley or the lower Colorado River Valley, but potentially could see some overnight lows dip into the 30s here, parts of the San Joaquin Valley or the Central Valley whole. You never know. We'll keep an eye on those. If they were to dip a little bit lower than that, prompt a frost or freeze concern, I'll certainly let you know about that. One reason I mentioned the possibility of California maybe getting in on some of the precipitation here in the middle of December, the Matt and Julian oscillation, something we watch this time of year with kind of the El Nino background state. It's been moving really through kind of the eastern hemisphere, through the Indian Ocean, and then through Indonesia here over this kind of first week of December. That's the expectation here, at least from the ECMWF, where the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th of December, way over in phases 3 and 4 in the Indian Ocean and Indonesia. We're typically looking for something more over here into the western Pacific, it kind of continuing this track across the western Pacific to heat up that subtropical jet stream. That can potentially bring us some precipitation through California. And that forecast doesn't really put us in that area until the 11th, 12th, and 13th of December, when it starts its march through the Pacific Ocean. So might be waiting out kind of into those middle December weeks here, or days I should say, until we're starting to see more precipitation pick up for California, save for some of these coastal showers that we're seeing come through from the system here overnight tonight and into tomorrow. Look at the 6 to 10 day outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. Not a surprise here. Looking out into next work week to see a big above average precipitation expected for parts of the Pacific Northwest. We have seen with some of the models an attempt to kind of bring that jet stream a little bit through Northern California, getting out into the end of next week. We'll keep an eye on that for the potential of getting some rainfall finally into California. In fact, if I take this out to the 8 to 14 day outlook, we see a wider swath of above average precipitation for the western U.S., including parts of central and northern California. So there's some possibility here. We're also getting out kind of this 7 to 13 day forecast into that middle December range, where I think at least kind of the background chances for improving the precipitation for California will increase. I think that's all I have for you all here today. A big rainstorm coming for the Pacific Northwest, looking kind of mid-December, potentially for a increase in precipitation chances for California. Until I talk to you all again next Wednesday, thank you for watching.